Morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Superintendent Mick Fruin. I'm the Divisional Commander of North West Metro Division 4, based at Faulkner. Thanks for coming along this morning. Just to give you a little bit of an overview of the tragic events of the airplane crash yesterday at the Essendon DFO. What we propose to do this morning is to have myself give a brief summation of what happened yesterday, what Victoria Police are doing in collaboration with the ATSB and Essendon Fields Authority, and then I'll get each of the representatives of those two organisations who I'll introduce now. The first one to my right is to my left is Greg Hood. He's the Chief Commissioner of the Australian Transport Safety Bureau, and to my right is Chris Cowan. He's the CEO of Essendon Fields. As you know, yesterday around 8:59am, plane registration number Victor Hotel Zulu, Charlie Romeo, attempted to take off around 8:59 from Essendon Airport and unfortunately crashed into the DFO shopping complex, impacting the rear of Focus on Furniture and JB Hi-Fi. The plane itself contained 4 passengers, all US nationals, and 1 pilot from Victoria. Unfortunately, all were deceased. Victoria Police, along with many other first responders and members of the public, worked the scene yesterday, and unfortunately no survivors were located in the wreckage, but no other people were located injured. We then began to process the scene. We had 4 ATSB investigators arrive from Canberra, and yesterday afternoon, with our disaster victim identification team, repatriated all 5 bodies from the scene. So overnight, the scene has been secured, and today transition will take place where Victoria Police will hand over processing of the scene per se to the ATSB, and they'll continue with their investigation phase. I'll just cover off on a couple of aspects that Victoria Police will do, and I'm sure Greg will cover off in his chat with you around what the role of the ATSB will be in the process moving forward. So, Victoria Police's role is to act on behalf of the Coroner of Victoria. So primacy of the coronial investigation will rest with Moonee Valley CIU, and that will include collecting eyewitness accounts, recovering CCTV footage, seeking personal information from the public at large, such as eyewitness accounts of what happened, any social media streaming or any other information that they may be able to offer investigators. Obviously statements from the family and other victims, and collating relevant evidence. We will be working closely with the ATSB, obviously over the course of the investigation, capturing evidence from maintenance records and other aircraft data that we may be able to assist them with. The timelines of the investigation from a big perspective will be dictated to by the time it takes ATSB to capture all their relevant data, obviously compiling a coronial brief of evidence and the coroner subsequently holding a coronial hearing. Complications with that, obviously we've got 4 US nationals. They weren't from here. We need to speak to family and friends, and obviously it takes a little bit of time to collect relevant information, statements and other information that, we don't know yet, but we'll glean from the family and the pilot's family. With regards to the family, Victoria Police and state government have a key role in maintaining the welfare of the family. We're working closely with the US Consulate and multiple victim support services. We've got senior ranking representatives that are with the family at the moment, working through the difficult time with them. So what I'll do now is hand over to Greg and have him give an overview to you folk about their role and what their actions are moving forward. Thanks, Greg.
Morning, I'm Greg Hood. I'm the Chief Commissioner of the Australian Transport Safety Bureau. Firstly, let me reiterate our sympathy to the families of those that were tragically killed in yesterday's accident. I briefed this morning Minister Darren Chester, the Federal Minister of Infrastructure, Regional Development and Transport, and I thought it would be useful to just take you through some of the facts and circumstances as we know them at this stage. A little over 24 hours ago, at about 08:30 yesterday morning, Tuesday the 21st of February, an aircraft, Victor Hotel Zulu Charlie Romeo, a Super King Air aircraft with a pilot and 4 passengers, taxied for departure from Essendon Fields bound for King Island. They taxied for the southern runway 17, at Essendon Fields, and commenced the takeoff roll at around about 08:59. Not long after, the pilot declared a mayday to air traffic control. The aircraft veered left and struck the roof of the retail outlet, coming to rest not far and being destroyed in a post-impact fire with a loss of 5 souls on board. The ATSB has a team of 4 transport safety investigators on site with various backgrounds including aeronautical engineering, flight operations and mechanical engineering. On behalf of the ATSB, I'd like to thank the first responders to yesterday's event, certainly VicPol, the MFB, State Emergency Service, Salvation Army, Ambulance Services and the Essendon staff themselves, who did an exemplary job in responding quickly to the accident. The ATSB process from here is we're very much in the gathering of evidence phase. From the gathering of evidence phase, we're likely to be on site now for the next few days before we move into a forensic examination of the information that we gather. We are seeking further information from the public. If anybody has any further video evidence or any evidence in relation to the safety of the aircraft or the flight, we're asking that you contact the ATSB at atsb.gov.au or on our 1800 number, 1800-020-616. I realise, certainly from having a look at this morning's media, that there's a lot of speculation. As Australia's no-blame transport safety investigator, we won't be participating in any speculation. As I said, we're in the evidence gathering phase at this stage, but it is our undertaking to produce a public preliminary factual report within 28 days. Thanks, Mr. Ridley.
Thanks, Fred. I'd like now to introduce Mr. Chris Cowan. He's the CEO of Essendon Fields, who'll be able to give you a little bit of an overview of the facility, what they're doing to remediate the facility, and obviously the entry and egress and future operating plans for Essendon DFO and Essendon Airport.
Thanks, Mick. Yesterday was a terrible day. 5 persons lost their lives doing what they love doing, on their way to play golf or flying, a pilot flying his plane. I'd like to reiterate and express our condolences to the family of the persons on board. The pilot was not known to me, but was well regarded by the Essendon aviation community. I want to express my gratitude to emergency services who performed a magnificent job yesterday in taking control of the situation. My staff too were magnificent in the support they provided to emergency services and were first on the scene. I'd also like to thank the Vicinity Centre staff who also provided great support in terms of securing the situation yesterday. Our focus today is on supporting the entire Essendon Fields community. It was a traumatic day for them yesterday. We are offering counselling services to anybody who is experiencing any distress, and counselling can be contacted via our office number on 9948 9300. Our focus is also on continuing to secure the site to make sure it is safe for investigators and in assisting the investigation team in any manner that we can. We offer full cooperation. In respect of the airport, out of respect to the victims of yesterday's incident, the airport is effectively closed to aviation traffic other than to essential emergency services. We will consider that later as events progress and in discussions with authorities and with the ATSB. The DFO will also remain closed until further notice, and an announcement will be made in due course in respect of the DFO. I'd just also again like to reiterate our thanks to emergency services, and that we'll continue to support those people. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. So we'll open it up to questions from anyone that has a matter that they'd like to ask or raise.
In terms of the plans of the what is
VicPol, DHHS, a number of counselling and support services, as well as the US Embassy, are in extensive and continued contact with them. Obviously, it's a really difficult and traumatic time for them. We're making arrangements with them collaboratively with regards to repatriation of the body, support with regards to other members of their families that may want to come out here. We're working with them privately to make as much happen as quickly as we can, and that work's probably going to be ongoing for another week or so.
You mentioned there'd be a coronial hearing. Is that different from a coronial report? Is that
same thing? So investigators will compile an inquest brief of evidence that'll go to the State Coroner's Office, where the coroner will determine whether an inquest is required. I would say with this matter, given the complexities around it, a coronial hearing will be held at a date to be fixed at the discretion of the coroner.
Mr. Hood, investigations normally take a lot longer than 28 days. Do you have the resources to provide a full investigation in just 28 days in an incident of this magnitude?
So the preliminary factual report will be available in 28 days. We anticipate that we won't have completed our full analysis of the tragedy prior to that date, and it may be some weeks or months after the 28 days before in a position to produce a final report. Let me reiterate, we've got 4 of our finest investigators on site at the moment and currently assigned to this accident.
Mr. Hood, the pilot involved in this flight was under investigation for a dangerous flight. Why was he allowed in the air?
So, as I said before, we're in the process of gathering the evidence, and in doing so, look extensively across all of the possible causal factors of the accident. That includes maintenance records, the history of the aeroplane, the history of the pilot, the weight and balance. It involves previous accidents in relation to the Super King Air, for example. So, at this very early stage, certainly we're not going to speculate in relation to any specific part of the investigation.
He was involved in an incident where another pilot said that it was really unsafe. That happened way back in September 2015, and the investigation for that still hasn't been completed. Why did it take so long?
So certainly in relation to this investigation, I'm not specifically aware of the previous pilot's history, but that will obviously come out in this investigation.
As I understand it, the result of that investigation from 2015 was meant to be released fairly soon. Will that in fact be made publicly released?
All of the Australian Transport Safety Bureau's reports are publicly released, so I don't have that information available to me, the timeline for that specific release, but I understand it is in the not too distant future.
Was Mr. Quatermain safe to fly?
Sorry, I can't answer that question. As I said, at this stage we're gathering all of the evidence available for this investigation.
With this particular report that you're working with this accident, is that going to come out in a manner that might help contribute to the safety of other flights? It's been so long since that 2015 report. What's to say there might not be another accident that this investigation could have prevented if this investigation is done quickly?
Certainly, we're a no-blame investigator. That's what it says in our legislation. And the checks and balances with the way in which we investigate accidents means that people we make comment about, or companies, or aircraft manufacturers, or engine manufacturers, always have a right of reply to something that we write. So there's a protracted process in the ATSB to ensure that we get it right.
Is it unusual for someone to have a serious investigation like this and then be continued to allow to fly?
Certainly, with relation to the roles, the Australian Transport Safety Bureau is the investigator. Obviously, the Civil Aviation Safety Authority is the regulator, and it is not uncommon for them to take independent action without waiting for an ATSB report.
Mechanical failure has been pointed as a possible cause. Do you have any sort of initial indication of what kind of path you might be following?
So it's an interesting question. With any accident, particularly aviation accidents, we find that initially there are a number of factors which leap out at you. The investigators are trained not to put any bias or any reliance on what is the obvious. It's really important that when you're investigating an aviation transport accident, for example, that you remain completely objective. So whilst in the initial walkthrough yesterday and the initial examination of records, we've discovered some interesting facets. We really need to gather all the evidence and conduct the analysis before we would be able to say what might have caused the accident.
What are those interesting facets?
I'm not going to comment on those at this stage. I said we're still at the evidence gathering.
Do you have actually a lot of wreckage to work with, just the actual logistics to...
So the actual logistics, there are portions of the aircraft on the roof of the retail facility, and obviously there's an extensive site in the car park of that facility that requires examination. We've also done a sweep of the runway thanks to the staff from Essendon Airport and in fact from the State Emergency Service. They walked the entire length of the runway, spread out last night looking for, just in case the aircraft parts were screwed on the runway.
Mr. Calvin, there's questions being asked about the safety of this precinct at the airport, its proximity to homes, the freeway and the urban sprawl. What's your take on those questions at this stage?
The airport's got an enviable safety record. The reality is airports and cities, they mix, and that's a reality of modern day life. I will say that planning on airport is focused on, firstly, aviation safety, and second, on impacts on aviation operations. So that's a prime consideration. Planning on airports is a very rigorous process, more rigorous than what I call off-airport, and that continues through every project. Planning is also subject to extensive community consultation. Our focus at the moment, however, is on assisting the investigators. We will look forward to the report being completed, and that will obviously need to be considered in future planning consideration.
Do you think there's anything to move the DFO to where it is currently?
Again, the DFO planning took place some 10 years ago. That was as a result of extensive, rigorous planning, and there's nothing to suggest that.
Is there anything, we've been hearing lots of reports that there's nothing anywhere else in the world like the private development here, so close to the airport or as part of the airport. What's your response to that?
I think modern day airports have extensive, not just 100% aviation activities. There are a lot of other activities associated that occur on airports. At every airport that I'm aware of, there is also shops, hotels and other developments, so it's not an unusual thing to occur.
Do you understand the residents' concerns?
We work very closely with the residents. We've got a really strong relationship, and until the events of yesterday, I would have thought that our relationship with the community is excellent. There's 6,000 jobs here, and there's been very strong local community support for the airport and for the operations that occur here. So we have a very good relationship with the community. Yesterday is obviously going to have some impacts on that, and that's something we're going to work very closely with the community on.
Nick or Greg, can you tell us generally a little bit about this aircraft? We've heard from experienced pilots that generally, even with catastrophic and total engine failure, this plane should be able to land. Is that your understanding?
Certainly, as I said, we're in the evidence gathering phase in relation to this particular aircraft. The maintenance records, for example, we've taken possession of, and we're going to have a look. Certainly, modern aircraft with two engines are designed to climb away on one.
What's the safety record of this aircraft like?
To take that on notice, no, excuse me, but really, we have had, if you search the ATSB website, you'll find that we have had some other circumstances involving accidents with the Super King Air aircraft. I think Toowoomba comes to mind. But as I said, in the context of gathering that information and having a look at the record of the airframe, that will be commented on in the investigation.
So just to clarify, with this engine, somewhat in layman's terms, is one of this particular plane, not in relation to this incident, but normally that plane has one engine go down, you can still land it?
That's correct.
Could you spell that out for us? Just in layman's terms?
In layman's terms, a modern aircraft are designed to climb out on one engine if there's one engine failed.
Is it your understanding, gentlemen, that his flight path involved a turn just before the collision with the DFO?
We're still gathering evidence in relation to the flight plan. Certainly, our observation is that the aircraft veered left not long after takeoff.
The experience that has said to us that generally a sharp turn like that would result in an immediate loss of altitude. Is that generally correct?
I wouldn't have categorised it as such. I'm not sure it was a sharp turn. It was certainly, my observation, it was a veer to the left after the sharp turn.
You said before it's not unusual for a pilot to be able to fly whilst they're under investigation. Do you think that's really in the best interests of the safety of passengers?
I'm sorry, I missed the question.
You said before it's not unusual for pilots to be allowed to fly while they're under investigation. So do you really think that's in the best interest of passenger safety?
So I'm the aviation safety investigator, not the regulator, and I'm not commenting at this stage on the pilot or the pilot's records.
When the pilot called in the Mayday, did he give sort of more information about what was happening?
My understanding is that he only used the word Mayday a number of times.
So we're assuming it was a catastrophic engine failure. He didn't actually say anything about that.
He didn't, no, Scott, my understanding is that he didn't refer to the specific nature of the emergency. He declared the Mayday and said that word a number of times. Obviously that can relate to a number of things that can go wrong in an aeroplane.
Have witnesses told you that they heard a strange sound with the plane? Is it too long?
Not yet. So there were several witnesses along the runways at Essendon, including some that are Super King air pilots. So the team are this morning conducting a number of interviews with those people that witnessed the takeoff.
Can you tell us about the companies involved in this? We understand that the pilot was from one company, the jet was from a second company, and was rented by a third company. Who's actually, in your view, accountable?
I'm not at this stage aware of the arrangements in relation to the charter of the aeroplane.
Does the ATSB have enough resources to complete these investigations in a timely manner?
I think, life is about prioritising in relation to transport accidents. So the ATSB investigates aviation, marine and rail accidents nationally. Obviously, this one involves, sadly and tragically, the loss of 5 people, and we'll be prioritising accordingly.
There are obviously been delays to this other investigation. Is it your view that generally the ATSB is a bit under-resourced?
It's more a prioritisation issue. And we have a means of categorising the transport accidents and serious incidents that we investigate, and obviously those that involve multiple fatalities or that have the ability to improve transport safety, those that we prioritise, and sometimes that means that others are delayed.
Is that why the initial investigation was still coordinated back in 2015 and it's taken so long because other projects have been prioritised ahead of it?
Possibly. I'll have to have a look at that. I've been with the Australian Transport Safety Bureau 7 months, so a lot of the investigations prior to that time, I'm not specifically aware of the timelines for those.
You say you have a preliminary report in 28 days.
That's correct.
Can you say how long the report, the full investigation will take?
I'd like to think we'd have that out as soon as we possibly can, when we have all of the evidence gathered and analysed, and when those directly involved parties, such as maintenance providers and the company, etc., are able to provide sort of natural justice by commenting on our draft report.
So what level of detail can we expect in 28 days?
In 28 days, you'll have what we know in relation to the basic facts of the accident. But our ability to go through that amount of evidence, I think so far on the witnesses we have about 100 people. The ability to conduct an interview for all of those people, to collect the on-site evidence in relation to the engines and the airframe, and then to come up with a meaningful analysis, that's going to take longer than 28 days.
So 100 witnesses, do you think that would be the extent of what you expect?
It's hard to know. Obviously I saw, like most people here, the footage yesterday of taken by dash cams of a truck along the highway. So that's the kind of evidence that's really important for us, to have a look at, was the undercarriage retracted or deployed? Was there any other feature of the aeroplane that we can see in relation to its flight just before it impacted the retail facility?
If there's no other questions, we'll conclude the discussion this morning. Thanks very much for attending.